I want to call the meeting of the Housing Authority of Butler County to order. Let the record show that all members of the authority are in attendance. And, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Larry Dickey has been excused. We will move into the business appointment of acting secretary to the board of directors.
Before you get into that, Madam Chair, there's been a lot of speculation over the past couple of weeks in regard to the executive director. And we have a statement which we will release, and I have about 30 copies here for distribution. I would also like to read the statement. On January 15, 2015, the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the County of Butler and the Redevelopment Authority of the County of Butler began a period of administrative leave. During the leave, the Executive Director is receiving pay and benefits, and at this point in time, there is no reason to believe he will not return to his position in the future. While it's difficult, no one should read into the administrative leave, and no additional information will be provided by the authorities, the employees, or the board of directors. The law requires that the authorities keep confidential the basis, reasons, or circumstances for any employee leave of absence. The authorities hope that the media and the members of the public will respect these legal requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. The first point on the agenda is the appointment of acting secretary to the board of directors. I will entertain a motion to appoint Karen Druschel as acting secretary to the board of directors. Do I approve? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. The next point on the agenda is the announcement of the executive sessions that the board has held. We held a meeting on the 14th and 29th of January, and we met this morning prior to this meeting. It's February 6th. The next point, pardon me? I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. The reason for the meetings was to discuss personnel. Point number 4, administrative leave of the executive director. I will entertain a motion to ratify and approve placing Perry O'Malley, the executive director, on paid administrative leave effective January 15, 2015. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? There being none, the vote will be taken. All in favor signify by saying, I'm sorry, I did that. I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, we will move on. Item 5, public comments. Does anybody wish to address?
Jerry, is there a Jerry? Jerry Swarthfield?
Schwartzwalder, he's stepped out to go to restaurant.
Oh, Larry, yeah.
Larry?
Larry.
Jeff Sweeney?
Yeah.
I have as a former employee of Butler County Housing Authority, I have a few questions to ask. I know the board members are all new since I worked here. Why is it such a high turnover here, like employment? People get a job and only last so long and they leave. Has anybody ever been into that? I mean, why people,
Sir, while we respect your questions, this is a public comment period, so it's not something that we can respond to and answer, but you're free to make whatever comments you wish.
Okay. They offer benefits, reasonable wages, People don't leave just without a reason. Could it be management? Why people are leaving the housing authority? I personally resigned after 9 years working for the housing authority. And why? Because I was harassed from Regis and O'Malley every day. Every day I was harassed by them. This man here was harassed by them. Since my time here, I got a list of names. Over 60-some people has left the housing authority because of 2 people, O'Malley and Regis. What experience did O'Malley have before coming to the Butler County Housing Authority? What experience did he have? Why did he leave his previous employer? Did he ever have complaints there? Did anybody ever see? What experience did Sandy Regis have to have a title of a project manager? Now they want her to be a deputy executive director. Has anybody ever went into this and seen what kind of qualifications these people have? Was a job advertised for this deputy executive director? I would describe my employment with the housing authority as a hostile work environment, unprofessional management, harassment and degrading daily, unfair, spiteful actions from management, time off without pay for uncaused, for nothing, time off, literally time off, poor performance evaluation. I now work for the Butler County. Here's my boss, sitting right here. I have not one complaint in over 5 years employed with Butler County. But here, I could never do anything right. I have an associate's degree, heating and ventilation, air conditioning. Do you know what Perry and Sandy Regis had me do? Scrub floors, wash windows. That's degrading. Degrading. That's all I have to say.
Is Larry back? No. I have no idea. The third person who signed up looks like,
I can't read it either.
we'll go with Kathy Sweeney, and if you want a chance to talk after we go through the list. Kathy Sweeney?
I would like to just vouch for everything. This is my husband. I lived through what I would like to consider hell for 9 years. We had 3 children. My husband got to the point every day it was affecting his health to come to work. There was not a thing that could be done. And eventually he said, Dad, I have to get out of there. I have to. I said, do what you have to do, we'll get by. He had no job to go to, and he walked out. For this reason, there's definitely a problem. And we've seen many, many people, just families destroyed, and it's really sad. And I just thought to be here for his support. He came home from a meeting once, and it was the entire maintenance staff, and Carrie O'Malley looked him in the eye and said, I have the authority to take the bread off your table, and I will. Quote, Carrie O'Malley. And he did, quote, Kathy Sweeney. He took the bread off our table when he sent my husband home many days without without pay for trivial little things. The elevators, there was asbestos in them, they're down. He's in terrace, 5-floor building, and they have one wet floor sign. Jeff gets time off, documented unpaid time off, because he didn't care about the employee or the tenants there. He only had one wet floor sign up, and somebody just looked himself, you don't care about the tenants here. He said, what about the 5 floors of employees that could not get out if they had to? If you're in a wheelchair and you're on the 5th floor and both elevators are down for extended period of time due to asbestos, there was no justification. He cared. He heard Sandra Regis refer to the tenants. I come to check out the nuts today. These are residents of Butler County that have mental, physical handicaps. This man was compassionate. He loved and adored those tenants. I could give you names and names of people that we as a family went to visit due to his relationship, just meeting people in the hallway that cared about our family. He cared about the residents, the tenants in those buildings. And that's all I have to say. He's a very good father, employee. I couldn't speak high enough of his work quality. And it was very, very unfair. And we didn't have any power to do anything about it, but.
I tried. No one will listen.
And there's an intimidation factor. Then the reason that you're not going to see their maintenance staff here or their employees, there's an intimidation. There's not a resident that would have come out here to speak their piece because they're intimidated. They fear eviction. And it really needs to be addressed. These are our residents that we're speaking for and future employees. Thank you.
Bill? Peggy? James?
Yes, I'm County Commissioner Jim Maxine. I'd like to say I looked into this, and even Jerry Andre and the attorney came and met with us the other day at the County Commissioner's office, so they briefed us on this, and I'd like to speak about that, and also Jack McMillan sent me a comment in the mail too, from '98. I'd like to hit that real quick first. On 11/22/98, they had travel gate in the housing authority. The expenses were the same or less than, but they were more than Allegheny County. And 42% of the travel was with Perry O'Malley. Controller Jack McMillan wanted to audit, and he was denied access to the books. Jack quoted, I want to keep people in mind, Allegheny County is 8 times bigger than Butler County, and they were spending more on travel. And Perry O'Malley was the #1 travel person at 42% of the travel money. Jack McMillan, who I respect, said this, quote, the board members of the housing authority appear to be more devoted to the hotel industry than the housing industry. To my shock, Emma Mowry and Margaret Clausen were in that article, and they're still on the board. 16 years later, they're still on the board. And Margaret Clausen said in the article, I have it with me if anybody wants to see it, I don't believe the travel's out of line. 8 times is bigger in Allegheny County, and Margaret said, I don't feel that travel is out of line. Okay, they went to Arizona, Texas, California, resorts, Hilton Head County, Hilton Head, South Carolina, sorry, Palm Springs, Florida. So this is the board I'm dealing with. You know, we're 16 years later, we're still on the board. The next meeting, we ought to discuss term limits. Let's bring up term limits on the next board. You know, it's important to do your due diligence, whether you're on the mental health board, whatever board you do. This is not supposed to be rubber stamped, okay? It's not supposed to. I didn't vote. I voted no for the last time a board member. I don't like these boards that are just the same people all the time. There should be term limits. Okay, here. Why did you hire a law firm to investigate these alleged improprieties? The PA Attorney General's office is an impartial state entity. How about the feds? There's plenty of federal money involved here. It looks like cover your rear investigation for me. Who is going to believe when your AG's office will do it for free? We're paying a firm to do it. I mean, that doesn't make a lot of good sense to me, and as the people gotta believe it. As the people of Butler County gotta believe that. Well, that's up to them, I don't. You know, also, it looks like a double standard to me, for the Perry O'Malley team. If you're condemning or eminent domaining people's houses with no inspections, you condemn their house, you take it by eminent domain, the quotes from the law firm, your solicitor and paramedic are on the front page of the paper. You make the front page, Bob the Fool, okay? Now, when you do this, you come, when there's alleged wrongdoing in the housing authority, you take the Fifth Amendment in front of the Dane County Commissioners, okay? You come to our office, don't tell us a darn thing. Our solicitor is just as bad. You know, he said, oh, we can't, you know, don't say anything. Don't dare say anything. This is, they took the Fifth Amendment in front of the county commissioners. That's appalling. You know, the Fifth Amendment in front of the county commissioners, and it was advised by our own solicitor. I believe Bill McCarrier knows what happened, and he talked to our solicitor about that. You can ask Mike English. I think that's a true statement. Your wall of silence has no place in Butler County, and it should end. You know, here's the press, tell them what's going on. You can't have a double standard when you guys, you know, trash out everybody, and then you say, oh, I'm not saying it's funny. You know, it's mine. You can say a thing. You're allowed. Thank you.
There are a few names that aren't legible. I'm going to try, and then you can tell me if you want to speak or not. Allie Rose. And there's, did Jerry come back, or Larry? Larry.
Yeah, Larry Schwartzorf. I'd just like to just say something very quickly. I would agree with the commissioner here that I think that should probably be passed off to some kind of investigative authority, Attorney General's office. Probably definitely the Fed, since it involves federal funds, things like that here. And I don't know, I think some of the improprieties of Maui have gone on for a while, such as the Penn Theater downtown, things like this. You know, all that money was spent. And I'm wondering, how can we get something done about this? You know, now, he was certainly on a redevelopment authority of the city of Butler at that time, but nothing ever gets questioned. You know, I've viewed some of the former audits and things from the Inspector General's office of O'Malley, and they weren't very good audits, but nothing ever seemed to have been done about that. And, I don't see him coming back to the board. I see the Fed getting involved possibly, or I should hope so. That's all.
Thank you.
And there's one last name that I can't quite make out. Sherry or Shelley, or does anybody else want to know? Anybody else want to speak? Yes, sir.
I just have a question.
Please give us your name, please.
Guido Laporta. I have a question regarding the very vague yet very serious allegations levied against Mr. O'Malley. As you know, Mr. O'Malley has protections, concrete protections under the Equal Protection and Due Process Clauses of the Pennsylvania and United States Constitutions, as well as in his capacity as a civil servant. I would just like to know what bases or theories of law you are operating under which would grant you the authority to violate these rights of Mr. O'Malley. The identity of his accusers, he hasn't been given a hearing or an opportunity to defend himself. I just would like an explanation for that.
Again, this isn't a question and answer session. You've made your comment. We respect your comment. If you have anything else to add, please do. Otherwise, we thank you.
Okay, I just don't think his due process rights are being acknowledged.
Anybody else have any public comment? Okay, thank you.
Moving on. The next item, professional services agreement for management consulting services, strategic solutions, John Trent Jr. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I can read the motion, I would sorry, but I did not. Motion to ratify and approve professional services agreement for management consulting services with Strategic Solutions, and to authorize the chairperson of the board to execute the agreement on behalf of the authority. Payment by the authority for services billed pursuant to the contract shall be from non-federal funds until otherwise authorized. Is there a motion to, is there, accept the motion? Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. This motion is carried. The next one, special counsel engagement. Number 7. The motion to ratify and approve John Trent Jr. as acting executive director. Is there approval of the motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Special counsel engagement. Motion to ratify and approve special counsel engagement and to authorize the chairperson of the board to execute the engagement letter dated January 19th, 2015 with Caffarty, Ferguson, Wyrick, Weiss, Stanger. Payment by the authority for services billed pursuant to the engagement letter shall be from non-federal funds until otherwise authorized. Would someone make the motion? Approve the motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Moving on. State Civil Service Commission Signatory Authority. Motion to approve John Trent Jr. and the HR Administrative Assistant Karen Grabby Listison as having signatory authority for Pennsylvania Civil Service Commission matters. Approve the motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Motion to authorize Margaret Clausen, Irma Maury, and John Trent Jr. as authorized signers on all authority bank accounts. Approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bank account signers for resident council bank accounts. Motion to approve John Trent Jr. and the Residential Initiatives Director, Martha Brown, as an authorized signers on the resident council bank accounts. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Moving on. Contract with Gillespie and Associates for fee accounting services. Motion to authorize John Trent to enter into a contract on behalf of the authority with Gillespie and Associates for fee accounting services. Payment by the authority for services billed pursuant to the contract shall be from non-federal funds until otherwise authorized.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Service agreement with Erie County Housing Authority for Executive Director and Contracting Officer Services. Motion to authorize the solicitor to negotiate and finalize a fee for service agreement with the Erie County Housing Authority for Executive Director and Contracting Officer Services. Approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
And if I can, Madam Chairman, I'd like to thank HUD for their extreme cooperation in working through that relationship.
Good. All right. Contract with Partner Engineering and Science to perform a review for Terrorist Rental Assistance Demonstration Program known as RAD. Motion to authorize John Trent to enter into a contract with Partner Engineering and Science in the amount of $6,000 on behalf of the authority to perform a review for terrorist RAD. Payment by the authority for services billed pursuant to the contract shall be from non-federal funds until otherwise authorized.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Deputy Executive Director position. Motion to eliminate the newly created Deputy Executive Director position and to retain Sandy Regas as Operations Manager with a salary of $68,875. Is there an motion approved? Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. appointment of a new open records officer. Motion to approve Karen Druschel as open records officer.
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you, Karen, for stepping up.
Welcome. Is there any other business to come before the board?
Nope.
And now, move to adjourn? Yeah, is there a second to the motion to adjourn? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. This meeting is adjourned. At this time, we will go into the meeting of the, I'm sorry, I've lost my paper. Thank you. Redevelopment Authority of the County of Butler. Let the minutes show that all are in attendance, with the exception of Larry Dickey, who has been excused. The next point of business is a motion to appoint an acting secretary to the Board of Directors. So moved. Karen Druschel. Thank you. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Executive session announcement. It is the same as the other meeting. We met for personnel matters on January 14th, 29th, today, prior to this meeting. Moving on, public comments. Anybody? Oh, I'm sorry, we missed the motion on that, I'm sorry. Motion to ratify and approve placing Perry O'Malley, Executive Director, on paid administrative leave effective January 15th, 2015. So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Now, any further public comments for this
Jeff
meeting?
Sweeney.
No, the only thing I have this time is Perry made a statement that he didn't care if the Butler County closed, the housing authorities, federal and state, it would still run. That's all I have to say.
Mike Doyle. He left. Guido Laporta left. Kathy Sweeney.
No comment.
Sherry, was it Sherry or Susan? Bill? Commissioner?
Yeah, I just, this is really important to me. I came to Butler County to change government and to reform government. I believe this in all my heart. Open, honest government is such a good thing. We could be so proud of the United States of America, where corruption and wrongdoing is brought out. And that's what makes us different from these other countries, and that's why I believe we've been so successful. Freedom of the press, making actions public with public money. If you don't want to make actions public, don't be in the public sector. Stick in the private sector. Stick to your own business. If you have your own business, whether it be AK Steel, you can pay the executives what you want. You can spend what you want on remodeling offices, and you can do virtually whatever you want. That's for the board of directors for that entity. But in government, we owe it to people more, and I think that's really important. I think the board of directors here should think about that. What made America great, and what we ought to do to make it better. And that's why I came to office, and if any of us don't make it doing that, and the people don't want you here anymore, then that's a good thing too, because they made the choice. But the Butler County Commissioners vote to have money appropriated for this, for the Housing Authority, in which they do some very good things. I voted for it myself, low-income housing and helping the elderly. But I think those things are all important. And I want this board to really think about, the term limits, which I stated, and also the fact on how important it is to get things out in the open and do the right thing and not discriminate. I've been accused of discriminating a lot myself. I just think it should be investigated. I spoke publicly about that. I think Perry should speak publicly about, the discrimination that he said about. But I just think I want you to go home tonight and think about it overnight, about open, honest government and how lucky we are. in America. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Ebersol?
This was also on the housing authority one. It's on the agenda items, just for clarification. Mr. Trans is going to be a public employee, is that correct? Just to clarify for the public. When he's appointed, he's a public employee?
He's not an employee of the authority. He's retained on a services agreement.
Okay, so the services agreement that is prior to him being appointed is the agreement that's going to be with the authority for his professional services?
That's correct.
Thank you, that wasn't clarified the first time out.
Anybody else have public comment? There is none.
All right. Moving on. We need a motion, professional services agreement for management consulting services, strategic solutions. Motion is, motion to ratify and approve professional services agreement for management consulting services with strategic solutions and to authorize the chairperson of the board to execute the agreement on behalf of the authority. Payment by the authority for services billed pursuant to the contract shall be from non-federal funds until otherwise authorized. Approve the motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Moving on. Approval and ratification of John Trent as Acting Authority Executive Director. Motion to ratify and approve John Trent as Acting Executive Director. Motion to accept?
So moved.
Second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Special counsel engagement, modified to ratify and approve special counsel engagement and to authorize the chairperson of the board to execute the engagement letter dated January 19th, 2015 with Cafarney, Ferguson, Wyrick, Lease, Stanger. Payment by the authority for services billed pursuant to the engagement letter shall be from the non-federal funds until otherwise authorized. Approved? Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bank account signers for the authority. Do we need a motion for that? Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to authorize Margaret Clausen, Irma Mowry, and John Trant as authorized signers on all authority bank accounts.
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right. Here we go. Service agreement with Erie County Housing Authority for Executive Director and Contracting Officer Services. Motion to authorize the solicitor to negotiate and finalize a fee for service agreement with the Erie County Housing Authority for Executive Director and Contracting Officer Services. Approved?
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. I need a motion to appoint Karen Drischel as Open Records Officer.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Is there any other business to come before this board? Move to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, thank you for attending.